70 billion miles per second. And you will change a distant world. The trees in the rainforest will begin to regrow. The people who you call the government will slip deeply into their graves. And before you know it, you're in the new world. But you have to create it. You have to be artist. You have to be the artist. You have to be the authority. You have to be the author, the writer. It takes work. But I'll tell you what, when I come to what's the name of y'all city again? Detroit. When I come to Detroit, we're going to start a new movement. I have a whole new message. I have changed. A lot of folks listen to me on the internet and they say, well, you know, Dr. B, no, on one of your YouTubes, you said blah, 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 blah. So, you know, before you even say it, I've changed. I'm changing in every moment. We all should be changing.
Let me understand.
When I touch down in Detroit, if you are in town, be there because I've got some new information. Just got a huge download from Brother Dick Gregory.
He'll do it.
Woo! It's so deep. We're going to talk about the aliens. We're going to talk about the inner aliens, extraterrestrials, the interterrestrials, the subconscious parasite, the mental parasite, spiritual parasites, and how to eradicate them in no time on all levels. You see, all great movements start, it seems like, in Detroit.
That's right.
It's the Motor City.
The Mecca.
That's where the energy gets moving.
The ley line.
That's where the motivation is at. Yeah, man. So I'm going to bring this new message there. We're going to touch down
the Ethernet,
and we're going to experience true love. We're going to show you how to eat to live instead of just living to eat. How to talk to create words that create manifest destiny.
So, Dr. B, let me understand what you're saying. What you're telling the people is that if they just be who they are and live into the love that they are, the entire world will change and reflect that? Is that what you're saying?
If we could get down to who we are. Most of who we are is a mimic. We're mimicking our parents, our social group. You see, we've joined into a bunch of things that we personally wouldn't normally be involved. Mm-hmm. So the first thing you have to do is find yourself and detoxify from all that is not, and be honest. Just because we got locks and got a natural hairdo, or wear a cross, or we vote a certain way, it may not be you. A lot of people are in a social group because of fear. Of the fear of being alone. But when you understand that a concept of the etheric network, you could never be alone. But you're going to have to be alone for, right?
There's also a big difference between lonely and alone, which I think some people have.
Exactly.
Sometimes we forget, because being lonely is like kind of longing for company, where being alone is just a state of being. It's just the present moment. Like if I was, in the shower, I'm alone, but I'm not lonely there because I'm just taking care of business. But to your point, of course, you're never truly alone. I think that's really where you're headed with it.
Yes, you're never truly alone. We have ancestors, we got angels, there's life forms. See, a lot of us are star seeds.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
We are visiting here. Some of us are walk-ins. We are actually two beings living in the same body. A walk-in is when somebody is maybe near death, and another being would like to come in, and they make a deal to live in this body together. And there's some folks that's gangsters now. So the walk-in wasn't it wasn't a commitment between two people. It wasn't no contract.
It's a takeover.
Possession.
It was a takeover, hostile takeover.
9 tenths.
Message.
But once you start cleansing, detoxifying, Once you start doing these subconscious balancings, we can get down to the real you.
Dr. B, something I want to share. I encourage all the listeners and viewers to look this up. We were talking about the tapping into our for the men, tapping into our feminine energy, and how that's like more of an emotional journey, and not emotional as in how we've been taught to look at emotions as just kind of weak and very things you just cast aside or unpredictable, but really looking at how they affect our health. So I came across something in my research, and it was just kind of a digital breakdown of how our emotions directly impact our health. And one, it talks about how anger weakens the liver, grief weakens the lungs, worry weakens the stomach, stress weakens the heart and the brain, and fear weakens the kidneys. And it also, even one of the charts even breaks down the elements that are related to different emotional the different emotions, and even goes even further to talk about the sounds that are associated with the different organs and colors that are associated. So that's not. I want to just say that it's not all on. It's not all just like abstract. These things have really been proven, like metaphysics and what we know as practical science, or what's commonly known as practical science, are coming together. Even though we know that they were never separate, we know that the evidence is here for the discerning eyes to see. So just wanted to share that and give you an opportunity to touch on that as well.
Well, you're exactly right. Our organs are like musical instruments, and they're affected by what we say and what we do. To change the internal concert, we have to change our tone and change the way we're doing things. And when we stay stuck in the past, those emotional states are renewed every single day. And we're telling our body what state to create. Also, what you eat has a lot to do with your state of consciousness. We find that a plant-based system of nutrition is one that gives you a higher potential for energy, life, and sustainability. So choosing each day, choosing well, choosing your words, choosing what you're calling friends, choosing who you could consider family. Because there's the physical family, and there's another family who may not be physically related, but they are energetically related to you. But once we start getting back on the land, put our hands in the soil, holding the trees, eating whole foods, speaking and thinking whole thoughts, thinking 5 times before we speak. And it's, the feminine is a great vibe to be into. What we need is a full spectrum. We need the masculine and the feminine to find a point which is called the seam. Like you have 2 pieces of fabric. You sew them together. The seam is the strongest point. You have yin and yang. The strongest point is the seam between the yin and yang. This is called balance. This is called homeostasis. This is being at ease, being in the flow. We want to be left brain and right brain. We'd like our conscious mind and our subconscious mind to be in concert together. We're creating a musical orchestra. And the energy will arc from one being to another, from one cell to another, from one person to another. And we will create a whole new world. We will create that dimensional shift. You don't wait on things. You don't wait for somebody to come and save you. You have to save yourself. Be yourself. And let go of all that is unlike you. Let go of the counterfeit personality. You see, stop dealing with, a lot of us, I think I spoke this once before, about the genetically modified orgasm. What is that? You're happy about something and joyful about something that you don't really feel. You're not really into it. You're acting. Everybody else is laughing. You feel like you better laugh.
The placebo.
Everybody's throwing and casting a stone. So you feel like you better cast a stone. You see, instead of being what I call the indivisible individual, to be yourself, to generate, activate the genie within, and be magical, be majestical. If your job is washing dishes, don't look at that as a low-level job. You look at each dish metaphysically. And you imagine while you're washing the dishes, you're cleansing the air, cleansing the water, you're rejuvenating the rainforest. Everything you do your best. Or you don't do it. If your job is sweeping floors, this is a very important job. Don't look at this as a low-level job.